It's expected that economic recovery from the pandemic will take some time, but federal relief has already been significantly cut back. That could change if there's an outbreak of bipartisanship in Washington. In the meantime, local agencies have to provide as much relief as they can to people needing help right away. That's part of the mission for the city's anti-poverty agency, ABCD. To tell us about the effort is ABCD's president and CEO, John Drew. John Drew, start with what's happening right now for the people that you have to help. I mean, are things really going downhill in a very noticeable way?
Well, we're seeing it. Just to give a little background, we never shut down. We're essential. So in mid-March, we just upped our effort at a local level because there's so many people hurting, and still are. So we've done lots of food and lots of other things you can think of that people need at the local level, continuously by the thousands. We got some money from the CARES bill, that is the one that passed already, and allowed us to enlarge our scope. So we were going through July 31st. I think the whole scenario here is one that we haven't been here before. So here we are going into the summer. We're trying to help people day to day from losing their housing, from losing their minds. They're trying to stay in, they're trying to do this. Most of my constituency, if you will, or my neighbors are mostly people of color. So obviously they have been hurt even more so than others, economically, through the disease. And, they're badly, badly hurt. So our job and other charitable organizations here across the country is to do whatever we can to help out when we can. We're doing that. But this is an immense problem. The whole economy around the world shut down. I don't think coming to grips with that is very difficult. The whole economy shut down, with exception. I'm not sure which way to put this, but I will. Unfortunately, people who had to go to work, to do essential work, to do day-to-day work, do hourly work, they lost their jobs. However, we still have $1 million houses and $10 million houses, and we have a stock market that looks like it's got no place to go but up. It's bizarre, but right now, 30 million people across the country, last count, are on unemployment insurance. Massachusetts, almost a million. That means that they were getting an extra $600 on top of the normal benefit. And we widened it. That was great because people who normally didn't get unemployment, like people who didn't work hourly wages, they got it. So all of that was an intervention to make sure that the economy didn't collapse completely while we're all trying to beat off the disease, the virus, by shutting down and reducing distancing and all that. So, all of it made sense. But I don't know, there was I compliment, and not partisan way, but I compliment the Speaker of the House, Pelosi, for taking action 6 or 7 weeks ago, anticipating July 31st is coming, and anticipating that not only will millions of people end up with so little resources that we're going to have an awful lot of people more not be able to pay their rent and mortgage, not be able to take care of their children, but the cities and states are really hurting. The state budget in Massachusetts, for example, in which we get funding, goes from July 1st on. Well, they've short funded it through October 31st. Why? In hopes that they'll get relief from the federal government so they will not have to make draconian cuts in the state budget for the last 8 months and in the town budget. So all of that's connected. So when we couldn't get a bill through by July 31st, which would have continued the keeping the economy going, continuing to helping people who are hurting the most. And then July 31st, we went over the cliff. You could see it. We get people coming in. We've had 10,000 people over the course since mid-March, and more coming. And look, like, what am I going to do? I mean, I can't pay my rent. I can't. I don't know. Is my child going back to school? Can I go to work? I mean, just that's coming down on top of everybody, but particularly those who do not have the ability to put their child in private school and all that sort of stuff. So many of our neighbors across the country and here are hurting badly and are looking for help. They need help. We're trying to help day to day. We will continue. I've got to put $5 million into CARES money out in the street. When that's gone, we're raising money from the private sector. We'll continue every day to raise money that we can to provide bags of food, diapers, anything else we can do until this thing has an end, but I don't know when that is. So to have the Congress, which is really the only place we have left to keep people from the Great Depression, and we're close, is an intervention by a federal government. I mean, the Federal Reserve Chairman, Federal Reserve Banking, all of the people in Wall Street, all the CEOs are telling them, pass it. Keep the economy going. Don't let it collapse. And what happened was they didn't.
Well, you have the party that controls the Senate, the Republican Party, and a lot of people there believe that if you keep relief up to the same level, that's going to discourage people from going back to work. What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, I don't agree with them, but let's assume that 600 doesn't work. Give them 500. See, we're dealing with all bunch of systems that are basically run by states, not by the federal government. Unemployment insurance is exactly that. Insurance. As an employer, I pay into the fund. It's not state money. Employer money goes in to be there to pay claims against people being laid off normally. So when you're on unemployment, which I have been, you are required to look for a job. And if somebody offers you a job, you turn it down, you lose your unemployment. So people are thinking that women and children I know are swimming along with 600 extra bucks. All they're doing is if they keep their head above water, maybe they can pay the rent. But the after effect is that the $600 is gone, not replaced by 500 or 400, and not replaced by gimmicks. So what's next? And how long will we go on like this? Now we're in our third week of missed federal money in 30 million households. How long can we continue doing that?
On top of everything else, there's supposed to be a census going on.
Yes.
Yeah, and there are some problems with people responding to that. Are you concerned?
Yes, I am. I mean, I've been concerned since they tried to put on the census that you had to be a citizen. I'm concerned that the folks in the administration have been trying to keep the census down. So yeah, I am assuming that a lot of people who may be citizens, but are kind of like, can I really trust this census? Can I trust it? Are they looking for people who are legally? I'm concerned, by the way, and the same thing when it comes to voting. Will people be afraid to vote? Will they be afraid that the immigration people will be at the polls? We have a very challenging time ahead of us just trying to get a government on January 21st voting. And the census has been part of that because clearly some folks wanted to reduce the amount of people in the lower incomes who they think are all Democrats. And so I've been concerned about that and how it carries into the election this year. We're democracy right now. Never mind for a minute the horror, the concern I have for people who are hurting so badly. I believe our democracy is really teetering on the edge here if we don't pull ourselves together and make sure that we vote. And if we don't fill out census forms, then for the next 10 years, cities and other places where congregate low-income people will get less resources and we'll have less representatives in the Congress. This is exactly what some people want to have happen.
Right, but maybe not here. John, finally.
Not here.
Yeah, I know there are some things that you probably want to make sure viewers understand about how you can help them and how they can get more information. So could you share some of that with us?
Yes, I've given you folks, I don't usually keep my head all the ways you can find me, but we have telephone numbers, we have social media. Our 12 centers are open every day in the city, and so is in our downtown. We're not completely open, but we're doing remote work also. We also have our Head Start locations for our early childhood are opening up in the summer. Keep in mind that, hopefully viewers would appreciate this. As soon as the shutdown came and we had to send all of the children, 2,200 children, home to their moms on Head Start, early childhood, under 5, 0 to 5. My folks, I won't take credit, we pushed, got buses and they got food and they delivered food directly to their houses for weeks, for parents, because the children were to get fed if they came and they were losing that. So these are the ways we step up to the plate. Is it going to solve the problem? No, we're trying to keep, we and a lot of people, not just us, and Mayor Walsh and the government, everybody's trying our best to keep people in place. Once you've lost your housing, you're in a downward path. And you've got to fight against a pandemic spike. You got to fight against, meaning battle. The economy is going to go sideways, up and down. We don't know. And once you've lost housing, you're in serious trouble. So we've done everything we can to help a number of people, but not to happen. Enough? No. We needed a federal moratorium extended. We needed money from the feds to pay landlords and tenants to keep them going. We needed a plan to keep us going minimally after July 31st till the end of this calendar year. Then we can see what's happening. No idea whether we're going to have a vaccine or not, but that's beside the point. We're in a free fall. I kind of like, I wish I said it because I like saying things, but the governor in New York was quoted yesterday when he saw the president's plan. It's like throwing an anchor to a dying man. So I kind of like it because it's not helpful, and it's got people concerned. Am I going to get anything? Is there anybody in Congress that really can put something together to make this work? Are we going to let the economy fall further by having states lay off millions of people, and cities laying off millions of people, firemen, policemen? I don't know. This is our decision point.